Hi everyone, my name is Andy Chamberlain. I'm a writer and podcaster, and I'm also the host of the Independent Christian Writers Conference, an in-person conference which is being held at Ridley Hall Theological College in Cambridge on Saturday, September the 4th. I do hope you'll consider joining us for this event. We'll be exploring the latest options for publication for Christian writers with case studies from published authors and insights from Christian publishers. We'll also be running genre-based sessions so you can find out more about writing memoir, biography, romance, and fantasy and sci-fi. There'll be a bookstall, opportunities to ask your questions, and also to network with our speakers and other writers. And all of this will be in the wonderful setting of Ridley Hall, one of the colleges in Cambridge, with our college chef providing lunch and refreshments. We've got a fantastic speaker team lined up for this event, including Malcolm Down, who has been at the heart of Christian publishing in the UK for over 20 years. Creative director, publisher and trained psychotherapist Sarah Grace. Malcolm and Sarah are the directors of Malcolm Down Publishing. We'll also be joined by fantasy novelist, traveller and photographer Michael J. Harvey. Michael is the author of the Auron Amula series, which was published last year by Malcolm Down Publishing. Also joining us is Ruth Leigh. Ruth is a freelance writer, blogger and author of the wonderfully hilarious The Diary of Isabella M. Smooge, which was published this year by Instant Apostle. To give you a flavour of what our speakers have to offer, I've asked each of them to join me for a conversation about their work and to share something of what they'll be talking about at the conference. In this first conversation, I speak to Ruth Leigh. Ruth is based in Suffolk, where she lives with her husband and 3 children and quite a selection of birds and animals, including a quail that Ruth's children named Roger, but who went on to defy expectations and prove that she was in fact female by laying eggs for the family. This is how things are in rural Suffolk. I hope you'll enjoy listening to my conversation with Ruth. Here it is. So Ruth, you'll be one of our speakers at the Independent Christian Writers Conference on the 4th of September at Ridley Hall in Cambridge. I wondered if you could start by telling us just a little bit about yourself.
Of course, Andy. I live in rural East Suffolk with my husband and 3 children and various livestock. I'm on the cusp of becoming a full-time writer. Everyone laughs when I say that. It's true, honestly.
Tell us a little bit more about the livestock situation.
Okay, the livestock situation. Well, currently we have 8 chickens in various stages of decrepitude. Some are young and vigorous and still laying. Some are old age pensioners. We've always had chickens. We've also got 5 quail, one of whom is called Roger. The children called him that, but he turned out to be a girl. They live around the back and they pop out eggs like nobody's business. And we've got a kitten called Misty. We're not cat people at all. That's the story in itself. We adopted her. We used to have guinea fowl called Gloria and Gordon, but we had to get rid of them because they were too loud and aggressive.
Okay, so you have got quite a collection there, haven't you, at the moment?
Yeah.
Now, your book was published earlier this year, The Diary of Isabella M. Smooge. I hope I've pronounced this correctly.
Perfect. Very good.
Smooge as in Bruges, as they say.
Yes, of course.
Can you tell us a little bit about Isabella and the book then, please?
Of course. Well, Isabella, on the face of it, is not a very likeable character. When we first meet her, she's just moved from London with her entire entourage, which consists of her husband, who's extremely handsome and devastatingly attractive, and is some sort of banker. I think he's a hedge fund manager. And I wrote it. I'm not sure what one is, but it sounded like the right sort of thing. What do I know about banking? She's got a Latvian au pair called Sophia, and 3 children, and they've moved lock, stock and barrel from London into a vast grade 2 listed Georgian pile in Suffolk. And Isabella earns her living very successfully by being an influencer. She was one of the first people to get onto Instagram. She writes a series of books, advice manuals. She's got loads and loads of followers, very, very popular woman, very successful and well off. Everything is perfect in her world because it has to be.
Yes.
And this is her diary telling you how marvellous everything is and how everything's going to be great now she's up in Suffolk and she can't wait. However, quite quickly, the cracks start to show and she finds that really reality in Suffolk is not what she'd expected.
Yes.
And month by month, more and more unfolds.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the perfect internet sensation life isn't quite as perfect when we get into the book, is it? As perhaps
it's fair to say that
you would like to think. So what did you learn from writing that book?
That's a good question. I've never been asked that one before. Well, I think rather prosaically, the most important thing I learned was when your publisher says, I'd like 80,000 words, please, you should give them 80,000 words. You should not give them 130,000 words, as I did. I don't know what came over me. I've been a freelancer for years. I'm used to sticking to words counts, but I just kept on going. Yeah. I thought, oh, it'll be fine. I'm waving my hands now. It'll be fine. All over. And there was a polite email saying, that's lovely. Thank you so much. However, it is a little over. So what I've learned is, don't, for goodness sake, go massively over the word count, because you will pay if you do.
Yes.
Weeks of editing, and that's what I learned most. I think discipline.
Okay. Right. This book is, it's many things, but one of the things I'd say is it's a kind of romance, isn't it? And romance is a massive genre. So what would you say, perhaps from this book and perhaps from other things that you've read, what do you think makes a good romance?
Well, you're speaking to a woman who has spent many years analysing the genre. I did my degree in English at Birkbeck, and obviously romance came up. And it's an interesting concept because it's not at all as it would appear. Most people would say that Jane Austen wrote romances. I would argue that she did nothing of the kind. Romance as a construct sells a lot of books because it sells a dream. And of course, romance is a thing. We feel romantically inclined. But when you think about it, there's a whole industry around the trappings of romance and how we ought to feel and how we're told we should feel. I think true romance is something quite different. It's more real and authentic, and it's nothing to do with lots of red roses on Valentine's Day or diamonds or whatever. It's an interesting concept and one I could talk about endlessly, but don't worry, I'm not going to.
But you will be sharing a little bit about romance and writing romance at our
I will, yes.
Great fun. I think you mentioned the potential title for your talk, didn't you?
What Price Romance?
Okay, we won't hold you to that being the actual title on the day, but that sounds like that's the kind of source of inspiration for it. Okay.
I did specialize in 18th and 19th century fiction, and I won't go all boring on you. I'll keep it light and funny, but I also will chuck in some stuff from there because there's quite a lot of foundation of where this comes from, you know.
Yeah, no, that would be good. That would be really good. Talking of funny, I love was it Roger the Quail who turns out to be a girl? That was.
Oh, Roger the Quail. Yes, I know. I actually bought a harness for Roger off the internet because honestly, my life, truly, we bought an egg incubator for our daughter a couple of years ago. We incubated these eggs and out came 6 quail, and the children gave them all names, but there was one pair that they kind of hothoused, as it were, called Roger and Pepper. We assumed that Pepper was the girl and Roger was the boy. Yeah. But then Roger laid an egg and started exhibiting ladylike qualities. So they decided they'd be a good idea to try and take this thing for a walk. So we had this harness. When you try putting a harness on a quail, it's very difficult.
I haven't, but it just sounds like what could possibly go wrong quite a lot, really.
Yeah, everything went wrong. Yeah, Roger didn't like it at all. So
no, I'm sure.
No, she didn't.
Quail aren't really designed to have a harness put on them, are they? I suppose.
No, as it turns out, they're not. And yet, someone is marketing quail harnesses. It seems very wrong.
It does. It does seem very wrong, doesn't it? I'd like to see them harness a quail. Anyway. It's all good. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for your time, Ruth.
Pleasure. Bye.
I do hope you'll join us for the Independent Christian Writers Conference. If you want to find out more, you can do so by simply searching Independent Christian Writers Conference online and clicking on the link to our box office, or searching for the Independent Christian Writers Conference on Facebook. We look forward to seeing you at the conference on Saturday the 4th of September at Ridley Hall in Cambridge, and please look out for conversations with other speakers at the conference. I'll be releasing these over the next few weeks. Thank you.